Hi. In this video, we're going to talk about equity research as a career, the skills that are needed to build a career in equity research, and how can you prepare yourself for that. In fact, we're going to create a bunch of these videos around careers in investment banking, private equity, venture capital, wealth management. So ensure that you subscribe to our channel so that you're updated about these videos when they come out in the near future. If you have any thoughts about what content we should build, please put your comments and suggestions in the comment section, and we'll be happy to kind of create content on that. Right? My name is Piyush, and I run FinShiksha. I have close to about 20 years of experience in financial services. And during the course of running FinShiksha, we have done trainings across the length and breadth of capital market firms in India. In our interaction with these firms, we have come across the understanding of what these skills are that are needed across these domains. And that's what we are going to try and cover in some of these videos. So let's come back to equity research. Equity research, you'll note, has two terms, this equity and this research. Now, equity is basically shareholding of a company. So what you're trying to do is you're doing research whether or not you should be investing or not investing in a particular company's stock, right? The research could involve a variety of angles around it. You could look at industry, you could look at company, you could look at competitors, you could look at the economy that's happening, what's going on in the economy. You could look at a wide range of elements when you're doing research, trying to identify what are the drivers that make a company investable or not investable. So that's basically what equity research is, right? हम किसी कंपनी के स्टॉक प्राइस को इवैल्यूएट करने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं बहुत सारे पैरामीटर्स पे रिसर्च करके. The parameters that we are researching could include the economy of the country, the currency, the interest rates, the industry, peers of the company, and so on and so forth, right? इन सब पे हम evaluation करके और equity का एक value निकालने की कोशिश कर रहे हैं in the domain of equity research. There are two broad segments of this, right? It's called equity valuation, equity research, but there are two broad segments, buy side and sell side, right? Now, what is buy side and what is sell side? Typically, all your mutual funds or all your funds that are investing money, somebody's money into stocks are buy side. All your broking firms who are coming out with research reports, essentially, on a particular stock. You've seen those reports, buy, sell, hold on a particular stock. Those are sell side. So your buy side is people who are basically managing money or investing money on behalf of others. These are the fund managers, right? It could include mutual funds. It could include PMS, portfolio management services. It could include AIFs, alternative investment funds. All of these are the buy side of equity research, right? Right? So there is a fund that is being managed and being invested, and that's what the buy side is. The sell side, on the other hand, is the broker segment, right? There are brokers who are there in the industry who will basically come out with reports. This report will be given to the buy side, right, as a client. So buy side is the client for the sell side, and the buy side will basically use this report to frame an opinion on a particular company, right? They will do their own research as well, but they do rely on a lot of data and reports that are coming from the sell side. Now, sell side is the segment that is doing this research and giving out these reports, those reports that we see buy, sell, hold on various stocks. That is what the sell side research analysts are giving. Sell side can again be broken down into two components, institutional and retail. If your customer is an institutional customer like a mutual fund, then that's institutional desk. But if your customer is a high net worth individual, right? A lot of firms will have high net worth individuals as clients who are investing based on research. That's the retail equity research desk of that particular firm. All of these can exist in the same entity, right? Same entity in the sense that obviously these are different segments within the same parent entity. So an ICICI Prudential Mutual Fund and an ICICI Securities, the mutual fund arm is the buy side, the securities arm is the sell side there, right? So you could have multiple examples like this that could come out. There is a sort of a Chinese wall between these two. These two segments sort of work independently. Buy side technically is a client to the sell side. They can have their own opinions about stocks, right? So that's how this entire industry is structured, the way it is worked, and so on and so forth. There are give or take about 50 mutual fund houses in India at this point of time. About maybe few hundreds PMS and AIFs that are available, which are smallish entities working similar to how a mutual fund works, but specialized in terms of their investment philosophies, right? On the broking side, give or take, there are about 50 to 100 brokers in India, large, small, lot put together. So that's the expanse of the industry. इतना बड़ा इंडस्ट्री है, लगभग 50 म्यूचुअल फंड है, हंड्रेड्स में कुछ आपके पीएमएस और एआईएफ होंगे, और ब्रोकर्स हैं लगभग आप 50 से 100 ब्रोकर्स छोटे बड़े सब मिला के मान लीजिए, राइट? All of these would have teams doing equity research. Now, typically the way sell side analysis works, जब आप sell side पे हैं, on the sell side, you are going to be working on sectors. You become a sector expert and over a period develop your expertise in a specific sector, right? On the buy side, your coverage is a little bit more broader. You're covering a bunch of sectors. You're typically an analyst who's supporting a fund manager, so you have an understanding on a breadth of the market essentially, right? The skill set needed is more or less the same on both the sides when you're looking at that, right? So that's the construct that is there. Now, when we go to talk about what are the skills needed, there are two elements that come here in terms of understanding it. The first is what to research, right? So what to research is an ideation problem. When you are basically a fund manager, you have to look at a bunch of ideas across all the companies that are listed in the country. If you're a global investor, you have to look at countries that are listed globally, essentially, companies that are listed globally, right? So what to research is one segment that is there. And then how do you go about doing that research? Skills that are required in this two segment. They're trying to solve these two problems or these two questions essentially, right? So what are the skills that are needed? क्या skills चाहिए हमें, right? When you're trying to ideate, you're trying to find out what are the ideas for equity research, then a top-down analysis or a bottom-up analysis kind of works. अगर आप top-down analysis कर रहे हैं, if you're doing a top-down analysis, then you're looking at the economy. So an understanding of what's happening in the macroeconomic environment of the country is critical. You need to know, have an opinion about interest rates. You need to understand how's the GDP growing. You need to have a sense of how the currency moves or what drives the currency, what's happening to the government policy in the country about taxation and all. A sense of that is needed, right? Of course, at the end, you will go and research about a company. So you will have to have an in-depth understanding of the sector and the company. And when I say in-depth understanding, you need to be really deep in terms of your understanding of what drives the sector, what are the nuances of the sector, what are the competitive advantages of the companies in the sector, organized hai, nahi hai, unorganized segment kitna bada hai, B2B hai, B2C hai, what is the value chain of the sector. All of this is to be kind of understood when you're evaluating a particular company, right? Of course, eventually you're going to come up with a recommendation on buy, sell, hold. So you need to have an understanding on valuation. What methodologies of valuation have to be used? Where do you use what method? How do you go about evaluating A company versus B company, different sectors, right? So all of that nuance and understanding is needed. An understanding of markets is needed, right? What drives equity markets? What drives stock prices going up, going down? Global markets mein kya ho raha hai? Indian markets mein kya ho raha hai? All of that understanding is to be needed. Financial modeling in terms of Excel, because eventually, most of these firms will have or maintain models on Excel. So the ability to build a logical, coherent model with projections in the future, with a 3-statement balance sheet, that P&L, cash flows all created, working in cohesion with your assumptions about the sector, that is a core requirement that is going to come. Obviously, Excel is a tool to help you, but your model should help you understand the business and take decisions in terms of evaluating whether or not you will invest in the company. And then report writing and communication. Report writing for sell side, because these come out with reports, and communication for buy side as well, because eventually a fund manager also has to go and talk about why he or she has purchased a particular stock or not purchased a particular stock. Right? So a bunch of these things kind of are required. Almost all of these skills are non-negotiable. Why do I say non-negotiable? Is because essentially there is a large pool of people who are vying for these roles, right? So skills ekdam non-negotiable hai. The firms are the choosers. They have the best crop to kind of go and look at in terms of talent and recruit. So if you're applying for any of these roles, then you need to have all of these skills, and these are non-negotiable in terms of your approach. Try and work on these skill sets if you are trying to build a career in equity research, right? There are a few other things that you want to kind of look at, what is good and what is not so good about equity research. So far, we've discussed what is the career about, what kind of things you need and what are the skills that are needed, what is the landscape of the industry, and so on and so forth. If you're somebody who really likes working with numbers, right? This is a fascinating field because you get to know about companies, you get to know about business models. There are new things that are evolving, new companies that will come up, and so on and so forth. So that's something that is good if you're somebody who enjoys doing that, right? What is not so good is it is all numbers most of the times, right? It's a fairly objective field. You have to kind of look at a lot of numbers, a lot of data through in, throughout, and over a period of time, you sort of understand companies. So then there could be a little bit of monotony that comes up over a period of time where you say, okay, how much of IT companies will you keep researching and keep researching and keep researching? So this is something that you need to thoroughly enjoy if you're doing this. Don't do this because it is glamorous and, somebody said equity research is great, so I should get into it, but more because, you really like, you enjoy and you want to do this is where you should kind of look at this in equity research context, right? One other thing that is happening of late is because of these new age tools that are coming in, AI coming in, research has become a little bit easier. And what's happening is historically, for example, if you look at Indian markets, you would basically see the sell side firms would basically be researching on approximately a coverage of 200 odd stocks. This is also a very large number that I'm telling you. Usually most firms cover 100 to 150 stocks. उन्हीं पे research करते हैं, उन्हीं पे research report देते हैं. बाकी stocks coverage में नहीं होते, right? What has started happening is because of the resources which are available, because of the tools which are available, because of the democratization of technology that has happened, information that is easily available, a lot of people have started doing research. So what firms are also doing is they are engaging with a lot of research analysts to expand this coverage now. There are 5,000 stocks that are listed in India, right? But most broking firms would cover 200 stocks because, beyond that, even mutual fund houses don't go significantly because of the liquidity criteria, risks that come along with those firms, and so on and so forth. But as markets evolve, the breadth of firms that are getting covered will increase. And that's where a lot of requirement of research analysts is going to come, right? So that in a nutshell is what is there in terms of a career in equity research. I'll reiterate the skill sets that are there. You need to be good with macro understanding, industry and company analysis, financial statement analysis, very good at that, valuation skills, financial modeling in Excel, understanding how markets work, and communication skills. All of these are critical and non-negotiable. If you are somebody who wants to build a career in equity research, start working on these now. That's it in this particular video. Thank you.